What's up, everybody, and welcome to Game On Improve Your Health podcast. My name is Austin J, or hallucinodream, if you know me from the gaming community. And today we are going to be talking about nutrition habit tips. I'm joined today by my lovely guest, Christina. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, I'm his wife, by the way. He left that part out.
I left that part out.
Yeah, so
my brain is all discombobulated right now. I can't even talk right. So we're going to go over some nutrition habits, tips, guidance, things you can do, and all that. Let's start out by, covering what exactly nutrition is. And, well, everybody knows what nutrition is, I would hope, but why it's important. It is important for many, aspects of your health, what goes on in your body, and, recovery for if you are working out, doing, any kind of athletic sport, even just cardio if you're not if you're just starting, especially, and continuing, and you're increasing your cardio. It helps with regulating your hormones, your glucose. If you don't know what glucose is, we'll get into that, but glucose is sugar. So I mean, if you're not watching what you're eating, you eat a bunch of sugar, you'll get that sugar high, as people say, and then you'll crash. You crash because of the glucose. So if you didn't know, now you know. We'll get into that, but if you watch what you eat, you watch what you put in your body, you'll be able to prevent that. And another thing is good for your skin, good for acne. I mean, that's not 100% the reason for why people get acne, but if you watch your nutrition habits and what you're putting in your body, it has very high potential of clearing up your skin. I don't think a lot of people know that, but that is one of the benefits. Do you have any benefits that maybe I left out or you could add?
I don't think I have any other benefits. I mean, just, I don't know if you touched on it, maybe, like, overall, just mood. Like, I always just feel, like, better when I eat right, when I don't eat, like, really heavy, stuff, or, like, greasy foods, fried foods, like, anything with excess sugar. As a rule, like, we really don't eat a ton of, like, processed sugar, or, like, a lot of things with, like, salt, or, like, a lot, like, really greasy stuff. So we can definitely always tell when we start to eat those things again. Especially over the holidays, you kind of tend to slip a little bit. But then I guess just kind of one of my biggest, like, tips that I heard from one of the nutritionists that I've worked with in the past is, like, you can't outrun your fork. So, like, I think that sometimes you had mentioned, like, recovery, and it's good for, like, if you're maintaining, like, a workout routine. I feel like a lot of times, and I always thought it too when I was, younger, it's like, oh, well, I just went to the gym today, I can eat whatever I want. Like, it's not really the case. Like, it really doesn't go, like, one doesn't always just outweigh the other. So it's just something to kind of be mindful of.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into some tips, things you can do. We're going to touch on what we both just said.
Oh, yeah, I should have saved my tip for later. Sorry.
That's fine. We're going to advance on that. So one of the best tips I could give to somebody, especially if that person lives with, maybe family members, their significant other, roommates, really anybody, best tip I could give to somebody in that aspect, and this would make it a lot easier, is get that person on your nutrition change, your nutrition habit change. If you are going to change your nutrition habits and you want to, let's say, for example, cut sugar, if your roommate is not, or your family or whoever, or your significant other is not okay with that, and they keep sugar in the house, they keep cookies in the house, they keep cake in the house, you are going to be more inclined to eat that stuff. I can tell you firsthand. And she touched on the holidays, which is where all this stuff really comes out. I can tell you firsthand, when there's cake or cookies in the house, there's no doubt I'm going to clear all of it. It's just how I am. And I know I shouldn't, but I do. But at the same time, I also know that, eating that stuff in moderation, even though sometimes I eat it a lot more than moderation, but eating it in moderation is okay, because I'm getting that fix that I feel like I need. And then I can think to myself and say to myself, okay, well, I ate that stuff today. I ate a whole chocolate cake today. But the rest of the week, I'm going to be very vigilant. I'm going to make sure that I don't steer away from my nutrition goals.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I think that, you know, you are going to slip up. And, like, for me, and I mean, I know I touched on it, I think, like, with fitness as well, like, you just have to be forgiving of yourself. Like, you are gonna eat that piece of cake, or you're gonna have that drink, or, you know, like, you're gonna eat that burger. So it's like, it's just kind of like understanding that it's always like ever changing your goals, and that it's not always like, oh, I can't have this and I'm on a super strict diet. Like, those don't ever last. It's like, it's really about making it a lifestyle choice and change, and not a diet. Because, like, to me, a diet is like so temporary, but like your nutrition should really be like everlasting, and it should be a lifestyle change. So I think just kind of always keeping that in your mind, and understanding that, like, you are gonna have those things. Like, nobody wants to go to a party where they're serving cake and you don't eat any because you're on a diet. Like, that sucks, and then you're not gonna last on it, because you're just kind of like restricting yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to restrict yourself fully because of exactly what Christina said, is you're going to fail. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you start and you try to do a very restrictive diet, the chances of failure are very, very close to 100%. It's just not how the mind works, really.
Mm-hmm.
And you just
Yeah.
need to, you'll be more prominent in keeping your nutrition habits if you let yourself have some of this stuff sometimes here and there.
Yeah.
Especially, like she said, if you go to a party and these party goers have cake, eat the cake. Because in reality, if you eat a piece of cake, but the week before and the week after you're going to keep up with your nutrition habits that you want to, and you only ate that one piece of cake,
It's gonna be okay.
realistically that piece of cake doesn't mean very much.
Yeah. Like, for me, it's always like, and he's way better at it than I am. Like, he can just give up alcohol like that and be fine. He hasn't drank since I got pregnant. But, like, for me, like, the thought of, like, never drinking again, oh my gosh, like, I just can't even, like, I don't know, like, then it makes me want to drink. So, like, it's just kind of like the same thing, like, with food. Like, if I told him you could never have cake again, he would definitely go and buy a whole cake.
That's right. It's the same exact thought process of using cake is my weakness. Okay,
Yeah.
It is what it is. And yes, for those who may be wondering at this point, because she said I stopped drinking alcohol since she was pregnant, our kid is just about 8 months, or is 8 months, something of the sort.
Yeah, she
Plus
just turned 8
10 months. So it's been we're over a
Almost
year
2
and a half.
years,
Yeah, almost 2 years alcohol
Yeah.
free. So you can do it. You gotta want to do it. And I mean, you just got to. So that's where these tips will come into play. Another tip, I would say, we're touching on all these tips at once, really. But another tip is to, remove it. So remove it from basically your life, your equation. Let me give an example of the first thing I removed when I decided I wanted to. So in 2017, I touched on this before in previous podcasts, is when I started my fitness routine. 2017 is also when I stopped eating fast food. That was the first thing that I cut out of my diet, basically, was fast food. I stopped eating. I used to eat McDonald's. Just to put this in perspective, in 2016, I probably ate McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell. What else was there? Not Taco Bell, sorry. It's been about 13 or 14 years since I've eaten Taco Bell. That's for another day, that story. It's nothing gross. But Arby's, Burger King, McDonald's. Those are the three main that I ate. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm not even exaggerating. For probably 6 months straight. I'm very shocked. And drank energy drinks. Monster was my go-to. I'm very shocked that that didn't give me a heart attack eating all that stuff. So I decided to cut all that out. 2017. That and soda, they go hand in hand. That was the first thing I cut out. I didn't do anything else. I wanted to make sure I was able to do that. I cut out soda. Wasn't too much of a problem because I was still drinking at the time. There's another little trick you can do. I swapped the soda out that I used to put in my alcohol because I used to drink hard liquor. Sorry. I used to put sparkling water in there. Okay, like 0 calorie, 0 sugar, 0 added sugar, all of the above. I made sure it was just tasteful water, basically, and I'd put it in there, tasted the same, and I didn't feel like I needed the soda.
Do you remember what else you used to do when we first started dating? Oh my gosh, the amount of creamer that he would put in his coffee was like sickening.
It was.
So
Now
like,
that I
I
think about
drink
it.
shamed him into drinking it black.
So now I drink my coffee black, and creamer is not even close to being a thought in my head.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
I forgot about that until
That was
just now.
that was a couple years ago. And I totally forgot about that. Yes.
Oh my gosh, it was like so gross.
So there's another thing. Also, a good money saver, not buying soda
Yeah.
or creamer.
Yeah.
But that goes hand in hand with having people in your house, having people that you or just really associate with all the time, which I was associating with you all the time. Having them stop the habits too. So since you drank black coffee, it made it easier for me to drink black coffee. So getting those people to get on the same nutrition routine. Now we're going back, but then we'll go forward to the one I just said, and then get those items, those like sugar, for example. You're not going to get fast food at your house because hopefully you don't have a restaurant, or hopefully you're not living in a restaurant. But unless you live above a restaurant, that's okay. But sugar, for example, you can nix sugar, soda. You can nix soda from your house. If you get the people in your house, your significant other, your roommates, you get them on board to nix that. And if they want to get a soda or something, all they have to do is go to the store, and then they have a single serving of their soda, not a giant soda that'll make you go to the fridge. You see it in there, and now you want to drink the soda.
Right.
So nixing that from the house is very helpful. It's very helpful for me when I don't have all that stuff. Like I said, love cake. When there's cake in the house, there's no doubt I'm probably going to eat it all. I ask people if they want it. If they say yes, I don't care. I'm going to eat it. So those are a couple of quick tips on what you can do to, benefit your nutrition. Do you have any more tips?
I guess, obviously, so I had already said, like, you can't outrun your fork. So, just keeping everything in moderation, and, just because you're, working out, like, yes, you want to, like, if I burn, when we do Spartan races, how many calories do we burn? Like,
a bunch, 2,000 or so,
yeah,
depending on the.
So it's like, obviously, like, you want to eat, to maintain that, and it's, for recovery and stuff like that, and give yourself energy. But, there are just, like, being mindful of, like, what choices you make. So it's like, just because I burn 2,000 calories doesn't mean that I should go eat 2,000 calories worth of, fried chicken or
Fritos.
Or Fritos. At least fried chicken has, protein from the chicken, or like chocolate cake, or, something like that. So, just, being mindful of that. And then something that, like, my mom always, just kind of, like, told us growing up too, is like, you don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Like, because then you're going to just buy a whole bunch of just crap that you don't need because you're hungry, and you're just kind of like, oh, that sounds good, that sounds good, that sounds good. And then maybe you're going to come out with more unhealthy choices than you normally would, where, like, when I go to the grocery store, if I'm full, like, I don't want anything else, just whatever's on my list, I get in, get out. And then at night, then I'm like, oh man, I really wish I had some ice cream in here, but I don't, so now I can't eat it. So
That's right. And because we don't want to get up and go out, we're not going to go get that ice cream.
Yeah.
That is a very, 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 very good tip.
Yeah.
Is to go to the grocery store not hungry. Sorry,
Yeah.
not hungry.
Yeah.
Eat something before you go to the grocery store, because that will really make sure that you don't walk past that candy aisle and see everything, and because you're hungry, you're like, wow, I should probably get one of everything.
Yeah.
Because that's your stomach doing the shopping for you, not actually your brain.
Yeah, like, we used to go on, like, Sundays. We would either eat, like, breakfast at home, or we would go out for breakfast, and then we would go grocery shopping. So that was kind of our routine, and then we had the baby, and she basically ruined our lives. But Um,
Basically, yeah.
other than that, so like that was just kind of our routine. So, like we didn't go to the store hungry. So like we would just come out with whatever was on our list. And now it's even easier because we just do everything online. So it's like we're not browsing and walking through aisles and aisles of candy and cookies and stuff like that. Like we just get all of our groceries online. So it's actually even easier now.
It is easier thanks to being not everybody is able to do that. So if you're not, don't sweat it. What we
Yeah.
do too, even though we're doing this online, it does make it easier because we're close to a location that actually is
Yeah.
able to
But
deliver it.
Walmart's do it. Like Whole Foods. So
Walmart is starting to
Giants.
do it now, but
Yeah.
they are doing it through a paid service. I'm pretty
Walmart?
sure. Yeah. So
Oh
for the
yeah,
delivery.
they do delivery, but
So,
they do
but you
pick
can
up.
do pickup too, which is the
Yeah.
same thing. But there's another tip for you
Yeah.
on that is what she said is we order, and what we do is order for the week. We order every Saturday or Sunday
Yeah.
for the whole week. Plan your week out and order for the week. So if we plan lunches and dinners.
Yep.
And sort of breakfast. We kind of eat the same thing for breakfast but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want for breakfast. But order what you want on the weekend and plan for the week. Meal prep. Meal prep is, paramount to keeping onto a good nutrition habit as well.
Mhm.
Because for example, if you don't meal prep lunches and you go to work, now
Yeah.
you leave work too quick, you didn't grab anything, now you have to go buy something. You're more likely going to pick something you actually didn't want or didn't align with your nutrition habits. So meal prep, get that lunch ready. We make dinner usually, or we get a dinner that we can do for 2 nights in a row.
Yep.
Which makes it easier, so we only have to do a couple dinners a night, and we plan ahead during that weekend. We order for the week, and we do that. That really helps to keep with our nutrition aligned with where we want to be.
Yeah. And I feel like we like that those are the times that we fall off the most is when we don't do that. Like when we don't take the time to just sit down on a Saturday and plan out what we're going to make. Like that's when we really that's when I go to Chick-fil-A for lunch or, then he'll order something cuz he's trying to, juggle the baby and do stuff. So it's like that's when you're just okay, well I don't have anything made, I don't have anything in the house, like what's the fastest thing. So that's when you kind of tend to lean on those not so healthy choices.
Yeah, and that could easily start a downward spiral because it could spark your love for McDonald's once again, which is what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So definitely meal prep, plan ahead, order the week before, get that stuff out of the house that you don't want. Make sure your significant other is on board, and if they're not, make them. And
Yep. And I feel like if you don't live with somebody but you are going to the gym with somebody, like meal prep together. So like go to the gym together and then invite them over on a Saturday or Sunday and just like meal prep for the week together, or like maybe split it. So like, hey, can you make the lunches for this week and I'll make the dinners for this week? Just kind of try to use your friends, and encouragement. Or maybe you just meal prep your own, but you're, showing them through social media or Snap or Zoom or something like that. So kind of same thing with, with the fitness tips, just kind of bringing that into your nutrition life as well.
make it public so you are held accountable. It's
Yeah.
not. It's really once you get into a habit of meal prepping and ordering the food, and what you can do is, and what she does, she finds most of the. I'm not very good at cooking yet. She finds most of the recipes on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Okay, Pinterest. Just go on the website. You don't even need an account. I don't think you can just look up. You want something with chicken in it. Type in chicken recipes. You'll probably get 200 million chicken recipes, and a lot of times they're pretty healthy.
Yeah.
So just look at the ingredients and then nutrition facts, and that's another thing too. Make sure you don't eat too much when you are doing this. You might start trying to limit calories. Because you want to eat healthy, and limiting these calories sometimes I'll give you an example that I do myself is I will eat probably 6 servings of a dinner, and I really should eat one. An example would be Thanksgiving. That just passed. I actually did pretty good
I
this
was gonna
Thanksgiving.
say you did really good this Thanksgiving.
I did pretty good this Thanksgiving, but
except for the cake.
except for the cake, and that was about 4 different times. But so we'll use that for an example. So I instead of doing the 1 serving, which I knew in the back of my head, I was like, you know what? It's not gonna make me feel good if I eat this next serving, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I did, and I'm telling you, I'm not even exaggerating. That happened 3 different times in 2 days, and I felt like Dookie afterwards. Okay, it just happens. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I did anyway. And I mean, it was a holiday, so going forward, let's try not to do that. You just gotta try to make those habits stick. Again, cake is my weakness. Okay,
yeah. But you know what?
everybody's
You
gonna have a
are like
weakness.
you are. You're gonna slip up, and it's okay. I mean, like as long as you don't, I think as long as you don't say like it's very easy for you to be like, wow, I ate literally 3/4 of a cake over 2-3 days, and what's the point of going through the rest of my nutrition habits? Like it's really easy for you to say that. It's really easy to just be like, well, what's the point? But like just remember, like it's okay. Like just try again tomorrow, and just continue on with how you normally eat every other day, and just say like, okay, well, that was that. Tomorrow's a new day.
That's right. You're always moving forward, even if you take a step backwards.
Yep.
Just gotta remember that. Failure is your number 1 success. Something like that. There's a quote like that makes sense.
Failure's your number 1 success.
You learn from failure. So if you slip up, I wouldn't consider that failure. Okay, but that I'm using that as you can't see this in the podcast, quote unquote. Using air quotes here. I'm using that as a. I just lost my train of thought. What's it called? Phrase, whatever. I'm just using it as a phrase.
Yeah.
A saying. It's just a saying. But yeah, so you're not failing technically. You're just being human, really.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That was a lot of tips we just threw out everybody.
Sorry for not being very organized. Those were all tips that were morphed into one. I mean, that's one giant tip with 100 different sub tips in it. So you're welcome. Expect that a lot, because those are the greatest tips. Hey, here's a tip on nutrition. Do well. Oh, here's a bunch of sub tips. But those are a bunch of tips you can do that should help you make your way through your nutrition habits and stay on track. And you just gotta remember, again, can't say this enough, it is okay to slip up. It's okay if you eat that piece of cake. It's okay if you eat half a cake. Just move forward the rest of the week. Try to stick to your nutrition habit. Meal prep. Get the sugar out of the house. Get the soda out of the house. And just do the best you can.
Yep. And then pretty soon it will just become kind of second nature, and then it really just becomes a lifestyle. So that's really the goal.
Yeah, and once you get to that point, it's just smooth sailing from there, to an extent.
Ish.
We are at the point where we are sort of at the smooth sailing. Sometimes it gets more hectic weeks than others, and things change, which they will. But more often than not, everything seems to be, aligned. And then, again, some slip-ups happen, but we still push forward, so.
Yeah, but now it's, like, really the best time to, like, get on these, like, habits and start this, because, I mean, not a lot of places are open. I mean, more restaurants now are opening, but, like, for us, that's always, like, the biggest, like, slip-up was, like, going out, So, I mean, since we've had the baby and with quarantine and all that jazz, like we haven't been going out as much, if really ever anymore. So like that's been really the biggest thing for us. So it's actually the easiest time right now to just start meal prepping and staying home. So
yeah, going out is definitely tough. You're one of those people who goes out, you just really have to limit yourself. You're okay to go out.
Yeah.
Just have to limit it. But
Yeah. Like we try to save like okay, like going out like for like a nice like seafood restaurant or something where like that's kind of a natural like healthy choice. So, as long as like you're not always going out just to like eat that burger or, go out and always have a drink with your friends every night. That's for me if drinking leads to my worst nutrition choice my worst nutrition choices.
it does that for a lot of people.
So yep.
But yeah, so that's just a bunch of tips. You can take those, try some of them here and there. I mean, I wouldn't try to try all of them at once. And again, I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this in other podcasts as well. I wouldn't try to do your whole nutrition routine at once. Don't change 100% of your nutrition. Do little baby steps here and there.
Yeah, like if you always drink soda and you drink alcohol every night and then you also follow up your dinners with dessert. Like if you do all of those things all the time, like don't cut out every single one. Like don't go to the grocery store and only buy vegetables and meats and no carbs, no sugars, no sodas, no alcohol. Like that would just be like you're gonna literally last 2 days before you cave on something and then you're gonna feel like you failed. So, like just pick one of those things. So like maybe it's soda. Just don't buy soda at the store. But you still have your beer and your cake.
Yeah, just do that for a couple weeks. Make sure you can do that. You'll swap that out with something else because you don't have soda. You'll be drinking something else, hopefully water. And then
hopefully not more beer.
Hopefully not more beer.
Yeah.
And then once you do that for a couple weeks and then make that an actual habit, then try getting rid of the ice cream. Do the beer last because the beer is going to be the hardest. Let's be realistic. But
yeah.
So those are a couple tips you can go ahead and try. Again, always forward, even if you take a couple steps backwards. So try those tips. For anybody who might have any questions, you can reach out to us on all of our social media. For those looking or watching live, it's over here on your left, all of our links. For those listening on the podcast, for those listening on the podcast, all of the social media links will be in the description. You can, message us directly. You can reach out in any way, shape, or form. You can email us from our website. Ask any questions you have in regards to tips, nutrition tips, fitness tips, guidance, and we will answer those on the follow-up podcast next week. I'm sure I will be joined again by my lovely wife, who I didn't introduce properly the first time because my brain was all miscombobulated.
Mm-hmm.
It was all wrapped up. What's it called? Wrapped up in a bottle.
I have no idea.
I forget the saying. Anyways, getting tired. And we will go over the questions that come in from this episode. So, that being said, we're going to wrap it up for the night. We are going to be back Wednesday, December 9th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern here on Twitch and YouTube, live with a follow-up to this episode. So, again, ask us some questions. We would love to answer them. My name is Austin J, or hallucinodream, if you know me from the gaming community. All of my social media will be in the description. You can check me out there. You can follow me, all of the above. Over here is my lovely wife. You can't see that over here in the podcast, but it's my lovely wife, Christina. Her social media is hidden for good reason. And but she will be joining us next week. So thank you for joining me today, Christina.
It was just my pleasure.
It's always your pleasure.
I know. It always is.
Yes. And we will see you guys
next week.
One more thing before we go.
Oh, man.
I am advertising and I am going ahead with starting I have an online training program. So anybody who's interested in starting a fitness routine, online training, I have 2 different programs. They're 90-day programs. One requires resistance bands. It's just resistance bands and body weight. You can do at home. The other one requires body weight and gym equipment, which would require you to go to the gym. If you are interested,
or buy an at-home gym.
Don't recommend that.
That's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment, and unless you have somebody there guiding you through all the workouts. Well, besides for just the app I have does guide you through the workouts with videos, instructions, all of the above. If you're new to working out or you don't know where to start and you're looking to start, you can find me on One Punch or all my hallucinodream social medias. Reach out to me. I'll give you more information on the program. I'm looking to get clients to start the first of the year. I'm going to kick off the new year with a new fitness routine. So I am doing that. Reach out if you're interested, and I will give you more information on that. That being said, we are going to wrap up the episode, and we will see you guys next week, Wednesday, December 9th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, with a follow-up episode to this one. Thank you for joining us, and see you next week.